Water Cooler Wednesday. It's so hot outside. Right. You got your water ready?
That's
Got your water? Hold on. Let me see.
Yeah.
I'll pull out my big one. I don't support this, but I'm ready to because the weather is hot.
A big bottle.
Mm-hmm. So today we have the water cooler because we want to talk about 203K loans. That's the lender's terminology, but you might call it a rehab loan.
Yep.
So things like that.
We call it.
My name's Deanne Branch, and I am with EXP Realty, and we have with me,
Other side. Other side.
Yep.
We get this wrong every week.
I don't know. I hadn't done it in a while.
Hey, Mama here. How's it?
Yes. We have a special guest with us this week. His name is Robert. Ooh, Sabri. I didn't ask you. How do you say your last name?
Sabri, right?
You said it right. Sabri. Sabri.
Okay.
That's like it's spelled.
All right, Robert. And we're so excited to have him because right now there's not a lot of houses on the market. And so a lot of people are trying to find that right home for them. And maybe one of the options that you might want to consider is finding something that costs a little less, and then you going ahead and doing the work in the property and getting a loan from House Money Mama over here and get her one of
House
those
money.
Get one of those 203K loans. So, right. Lisa, what's the 203K loan? What is it?
So a 203K loan, as you indicated, is basically a rehab loan. It's something designed for you to be able to purchase the house, and instead of having to have it yourself to be able to do repairs, upgrades, and things like that, we roll that money for those that rehabilitation part, repairs for anything, or for something. Maybe the basement got that wood panel on it, look like something from these. And so you want to update it, bring it up to date, then something like that, we can roll those kind of costs into your loan. So it's all one loan instead of you having to acquire the house and then spend your own separate money to fix it up.
Okay. All right. And I know FHA has it, but is there a conventional one?
Yeah, you can do conventional, the same thing. That's not really what we're talking about today. Our guest is a HUD consultant, and those HUD consultants typically they're trained and work for, to keep the loans within the parameters of the 203K guidelines. So Mr. Robert is going to be real familiar with that stuff, so he can school us a little bit.
Right. And so that's for FHA only, correct?
Right. That's FHA. Yeah. Yeah, that's different.
All right. So,
let me say if I can.
Yes.
I was just
Robert,
going to say, while we are talking about, while we are talking about the FHA 203K, I believe you said it, and Fannie Mae loan, which is the home style. And most of the lenders, when you're doing those loans, they also use the 203K consultant up and the draw inspection. I just wanted to throw that out there.
So they could actually use you for both types of loans. All right.
Yes.
Seems like we have,
depending on the lenders, some lenders have their own inspector.
Yeah, we're kind of it's kind of a little delayed. So, Robert, what does a home inspector? What do you do?
Well, the first when we are called by the borrower, which is that the lenders use, is to go out there and to see the HUD minimum property standard. Let me say that standard is not all that high, but it has certain criteria that the property has to meet. First of all, it has to be a own property. It could be anywhere from a single family up to a 4-unit. There are some ceilings on in terms of the loan amount, but that's something loan to speak more to. But the first we go out there, we look at the property, make sure it meets minimum property standards. If it doesn't meet the minimum standards for whatever reason, part of the rehab budget will address those items to bring property up from property standard. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where we start. Anything over and beyond the minimum property standards, we call a wish list. For example, you may have an unused attic space big enough to be living space. It could be a bedroom suite, bedroom for bathroom. That would be one of the items that's acceptable for property. Same thing with a basement. You may want to turn a unfinished basement into a living space, wide open finished basement. Use the 203K funds for that as well. There's a lot of things you can use in a 203K project, such as upgrade your kitchen, your bathroom, build a new garage, new porches, decks. You can even purchase appliances, kitchen appliances, laundry room like washers and dryers. Those items can also be included in the 203 package. What a lot of people don't know, however, is that you can take a mixed-use property as long as residential portion of that represent 51% of the total square footage, then that mixed use property can be used under the 203K umbrella. A lot of appraisers don't know how to do it because sometimes it may be 50-50, but you can take the hallways necessary to get to the living areas and add the hallway space onto the square footage of the residential portion. And let's say now you got 51% residential and 49% commercial, and that will get a 203 loan. And as I indicated, the property structure can
so
be
I want to
to a 4-unit.
because we're on what's being said.
Say that again.
I can hear him. You can't hear him?
Is that what you're getting to, Dion?
No, I can hear him. It's a little delay, but I can't hear him. Maybe you come out and come back.
Okay.
Lisa, did you hear me?
Say something. Okay.
Hello?
Hear me?
I can hear you. I'm going to do. I can hear you as well.
Yeah, I can hear you now. So.
You still need to come back in?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
One of the things that I wanted to point out is that with a 203K loan, if you're taking a 203K loan, if you're less than 35,000, then you actually do not need a HUD consultant. So you could manage that project on your own.
Now it
Only
depends. It depends. There is a bit of a caveat to that, because if you any 203K project that requires any type of foundational changes, like you knocking down walls and stuff like that, you still need a HUD consultant. So even if it's only 20,000, but say you're knocking out a wall, on the first floor or something, you're gonna maybe combine two rooms into one or whatever. That I think that would be considered foundational. And so for something like that, you would still require a HUD consultant.
okay, but then probably after that you over 35 though. But yes, so there's some constraints to it, but
Hey, Brutus. I know that's Brutus.
that's Bella.
Oh,
And
that's
she's on the
Bella today.
other
Bella
side.
goes somewhere.
She's on the other side of the door.
Okay.
So Robert, why don't you who one of the questions I asked you is who do you work for?
I work for a company called Sabri's Home Inspection, and I am the owner of Sabri's Home Inspections. And we also do 203K consultancy. So I'm also on HUD rostrum. So I run my own small
So how do we
home inspection company.
find a HUD inspector? How do we know we got the right one?
Well, as we were speaking earlier, 203K consultant, you should look for someone who's not just a 203K consultant. Maybe they have some experience in the mortgage industry, maybe as a contractor or as rehabber themselves. When you're looking at Sabri's Home Inspection, I have all those things. I'm a sir. I am a contractor. I'm a rehabber, home inspector, and a 203K consultant. And I have roughly 30 years experience in the housing industry. While I've only been a 203K consultant for about years, 10 years, I'm also energy. I used to work for CETA. I don't know if you have heard
Okay.
of CETA,
Yep,
where we
familiar
would
with
go
CETA.
in and home to see what we can energy friendly. So when I'm doing my 203K consultant inspection, I have those hats because sometimes it gets you in trouble if you're going over on board. But if you're looking for a 203K consultant, we're around it. And that's what we were what we will bring to the table is well-rounded experience in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And is there? I mean, so
not only I have used rehab myself.
Oh, okay.
should you should you interview a few before you pick one?
I didn't hear
Robert,
the question.
Oh, okay. So my question was, so you can interview a few before you pick one. Is that's what that's the process, right?
Yes, yes. Just like if you were a inspector, when you get on, you ask certain questions. If the consultant answers your question to your satisfaction, and you feel a rapport with that consultant, then I will recommend that you use that consultant. You said earlier, Dion, that your daughter have had some bad experience with the 203K consultant. And one thing I don't understand, however, is that when the borrower says that the contractor to get paid out much money, well, the home sign off on those papers before the inspection is submitted to the lender. The homeowner has to sign off on it. So generally, I ask my homeowners, if you have any concern with the work that has been done to this point, and now would be the best time to address those concerns. If you're satisfied, you should sign the paper. If you're not satisfied, then you don't sign the paper. The contractor can't get paid if you don't sign those papers. Today, if the money is used, and then either the contractor or the home, well, the work wasn't done, well, both of those parties have to sign off on the paperwork. And in addition, the consultant has to take pictures of all of the work that has been done to that point and submit it to the lender with the request. Otherwise, the lender would not to the contractor. So sometimes I hear that.
So this is where
one issue that I have. A lot of times you have these contractors.
Right. Right. So this is where I, as a person that has experienced the 203K, it's really important that you kind of have somebody that knows the process or knows what's doing it. One of my concerns is that, I was in real estate when we started this process, but you're really not familiar. And so at some point, in my case, because it's a drama, right? Like in our case, we were had him. He was the contractor was doing the work, but the payment he was receiving the payment, and so I don't want to go into much detail because some of these people do still follow me on Facebook, but it is I do suggest that you make sure that you have the right people in your corner when you're purchasing. You have to have someone that knows the process and how things work, because as Mr. Robert, we hadn't discussed this, but my question was, who do you work for? We hire the HUD consultant, but the HUD consultant actually works for the bank. They don't work for you. He's in between, right? So that's where it kind of comes.
Yes. Let me qualify. While we are the eyes and ears, also work of the homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
We're somewhat of intermediary in the consultant, the homeowner, and the homeowner's lender. But when it's all said and done, if the homeowner asks the consultant, not necessarily unethical, but it's not, then the consultant has to be firm and let the homeowner know we can't do that. For example, sometimes I will tell the homeowners, before you work that's not in the work write-up is considered order. Mm-hmm. You need to get that check approved before the work is done, because the lender doesn't have to approve it. So you can go ahead and have the contractor do work outside of the work write-up, and then come in for a draw and ask the consultant to do the change order, which is not a problem. The lender may reject it. Now you have a conflict between homeowner and the contractor because they're just trying to get paid. The lender's not releasing any money from the contingency pay for those change orders. So I always tell the homeowners, get the change order first. But I'm gonna say 50% of the time they call the consulting in for a draw, and then they start talking these other extra things. You know, from the beginning, I asked to get the change orders approved before you do the work, so you won't put your hands in your pocket, so to speak, if the lender decides not to do it. Okay. And another issue I just want to address is that these side deals outside of the work write-up, you can do that, but the consulting is not going to get involved in deals. The consulting is only interested with the original, so the homeowners and the contractors, their eyes will be clear.
Gotcha. I like to think of
Robert, what did you say?
I was just about the side deals. How side deals are approved, acceptable, outside of the 203K work write-up. That's an agreement between the homeowner and the contractor and the salt.
Yeah.
So when we do an inspection, when we do the draw inspection, we are only.
We have a question. It says, "What are some of the?" It says, "What are some of the challenges or things that look out for when completing a renovation project?" So I think we've kind of talked a little bit about some of those things, but you know, as he said, there's you definitely need to. I said you need to have some experience in the process, and you have to make sure that you follow the HUD guidelines. Right.
Okay. Robert, were you going to answer that question as well?
There's one in regards to some of the biggest challenge. I think there's two. First, to a working relationship with a consultant. Okay. And the second biggest challenge is finding a contractor that knows how the 203K project works, have resources to work that job and get paid a certain amount of work is done. One of the biggest problem is that a lot of the contractors do not have the resource to take that job on, thinking that the lender is going to cut them a check up front. Speaking, that does not happen. But I've been in the business long enough to see it happen. Okay, but generally it doesn't happen. The lender may give the contract money up front to buy materials. That's it. Okay. Anything over and beyond that, the work has to be done. So the biggest problem, I think, is the contractor who knows how the program works, who have enough resources to front that job in order before payment.
Okay.
A lot of time contractors, they got 2 or 3 or 4 jobs at the same time. They're robbing Peter to be satisfied. So you wind up having to fire your contractor. Okay. Which is the last thing you want to do. You fire that contractor. Because now you're looking for a lien waiver contractor.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Well,
But it is
right, for us, we
that
did
can be
have to let
overcome.
our contractor go.
You just
Mhm.
need to find.
Yeah, we did have to let our contractor go, and I
And, and,
agree, it's
and,
very
and let,
difficult to find a new one. So let's one
yes,
other question.
but they out there.
How long, right? How long do 203K projects take? Robert?
Is he frozen? No, he's moving.
How long do 203K projects take? He's kind of he's probably frozen.
I think so.
But
Yeah.
the project takes as long as it takes in order for your project to be completed. So if you have someone, a contractor that's able to complete your project within 3 months' time, then your project could take 3 months. If it depends on how long the contractor will take in order to do the work.
Normally, I think they don't want them to extend out more than 6 months. Usually, they want your projects completed within 6 months' time. Although I believe you can get an extension if you absolutely need to. But I think from the lender side, they don't usually like for a 203K project to take longer than 6 months. Even if you're taking it down to studs, you still should be able to take it down and build it back up within that 6 month period.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, we've had a little problem with some of the
yeah,
feedback.
yeah, we had some
That is
challenges today, a little bit.
Right.
correct. That's absolutely correct. 6 months can't get extensions.
You can get an extension. So he said you can get us some extensions
Yes.
if you need to. So we appreciate, Robert, we appreciate you
Yes.
coming. We're gonna end today. If you guys have some questions, you can put them in the Water Cooler Wednesday Facebook group, and we can answer. And we'll invite Robert into the group where he can answer some questions as well. So uh, it was kind of choppy today, but he can definitely answer some questions in the Facebook group if you
Yeah.
have some questions. So
And do we have a number if anybody wants to get in contact with Robert directly?
no, I didn't get it.
Okay.
So I'll put it on the thing. So all right.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, you can
Thank
reach.
you. Do you have it?
You can also go to my website. You can get a lot of your questions answered on my website.
Okay. I'll put it on the post, and you guys will be able to get it there. So Robert will share the information with me, and then we put it there. So thanks everyone.
Okay. Have a good night.